Well, good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of the Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating, especially you. You're not going to believe today. We've got Angeline Constantinou. Angeline Constantinou, amazing lady we've met through the Change Book and Mastermind. She is an abuse survivor and thriver and totally is taking her mess to messenger. She really wants to create a better world for those of us that have been in those really harsh situations. But
Yes.
first, we're going to take a little breathing exercise, our little 22-second mini vacation. We're going to breathe in some calm for 7 seconds. We're going to hold for 4 and then breathe out gratitude for 11 seconds. Really quick little moment of be still and know. Here we go. Breathe in some calm. Hold. Relax, release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's do that a couple times a day. Put those machines down and get some peace and quiet and listen, be still and know. Thank you for joining me. So Angeline, super excited that we finally connected. You've been traveling everywhere. You've been to Greece, you're all over the place, and
Right.
I'm glad that this has finally come back around to where we're getting together.
Me
And
too.
here we are. So tell us who you are, who you are in this world, where are you going, and we'll talk a lot about how people can find you, all those kind of things.
Sure. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in to today's show. So, Carla, and it's a pleasure to be a guest on your podcast show. This has been a long time coming. So, my name is Angeline Constantinou, and I am a women's empowerment coach, podcast host, and now global speaker of Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So, what my passion is to empower women to break their silence because they have a voice and they have a story to share with the world. And I help them reclaim their confidence, reclaim their power, and help them empower them to step into their divine purpose and identity. And this all started with an idea 6 years ago. Um, about 17 years ago, I found myself in a very, very bad place. So I realized that I don't call anyone victims, but I experienced domestic violence. It was physical, financial, verbal abuse. And, by the grace of God, I was able to escape. And I had a plan in place because he squandered money. And I remember, I will never forget this day. I was driving to the bank because I needed money because I was just like in a really desperate situation. I needed money, and I walked into the bank and approached the teller, and I told her that I needed X amount of dollars. The money was gone. $100,000 was gone. And I was like, I have $20 in my purse right now. And I'm just like, I was literally crying. Like when I walked out of the bank, you know how it is, like your stomach is churning and your mind is racing and you don't know what to do. That's exactly what happened to me. But when I sat in the car, I made a decision to, that was like the line that was drawn in the sand. I said, I'm going to surrender. It's my fault. It's not my fault, but I surrendered. I let go. And I said, I am going to take steps to file for divorce. So I had to borrow $5,000 from my parents at the time to start divorce proceedings. And that was a difficult, very, very difficult move. It takes courage to do things that you're afraid of. And, people will ask me, well, why didn't you leave sooner? it's because that we feel ashamed and we feel guilty. And there's so much shame and guilt that we're conditioned to believe that we stay in a toxic marriage for better, for worse, for richer or poorer. But I chose better. I chose meeting to start a new life for myself. And I realized that I could live on my own. And I remember um, I had some extra money set aside, so I was actually able to, um, basically live off that money because I just had it put aside under my own name. Thank the good Lord for that. So, fast forward 1 year later, got divorced. I became involved in the online space. I moved at that time from New York City to Saratoga Springs, New York, and I started a brand new life for myself. And I started to rebuild my identity because what happens a lot of times is that women lose their sense of self-worth. So that those last 2 years leading up to filing for divorce and that year, I worked on myself. I got involved in the online space. I had joined a health and wellness company at that time that had changed my life. Um, and I met new people. I started to surround myself with people on a higher level than me. I had a coach and a mentor who, just helped me through this journey because this was a huge transition. I was basically, for the last year, living like a gypsy, staying in people's houses, staying in motels, like I was out every single night because there was an order of protection um and I had to just fend for myself, but out of that darkness came the light. It just
Everyone has a story. There's in my show, typically, I just love sharing the overcoming, right? The hope that we can offer to people that are maybe going through it now or have been through that, because there's not a person walking the earth that doesn't have some story of overcoming, some worse than others, some better than others, but
true.
you are one of those that just took a look and took a stand, drew the line in the sand, and decided to step up to your calling.
Step
I
into
think
my
it's stepping up to
into
your
my
calling in a way, but you didn't know
right.
it you didn't know it at the time. You were survival at the time.
I was in survival mode for a long, long time. And there's only so much that you can stay in survival mode. It was time for me to take my power back and to take my life back. So, based on a vision and a dream that I had, I started my podcast 6 years ago. It was just a podcast to help women share their real life stories of overcoming domestic violence. And the women who are on my, and I've had two male guests on my show, by the way, but I've had a lot of women guests, and they have healed, they have transformed their lives and are now coaches, speakers, authors, like you and I. So they found the way. They were able to navigate that path just like I did. So my podcast is called Let's Break the Silence with Angeline, and it's on Spotify, Apple, and all. And I have a YouTube channel, started a YouTube channel. And my goal was just basically to bring awareness. And I had guests in the beginning and the during COVID. So I started my podcast actually 2 months before COVID happened. And that's when it just went viral. I was like, oh my God, what just happened? And
Wow, that so timing is everything. So God knew, but you did, we didn't. Well,
we
so
didn't know, but
often we
God
don't
knew.
know.
God knew. I'm,
So
yeah,
this your podcast actually took off because people were Let's Break the Silence is a perfect name for that time in 2020 when we're like going, what's going on in our
right.
world? And you had a title that people caught people's attention, right? That's
Yes,
amazing.
exactly. Break the silence. And I started a Facebook group, and there were ladies who were sharing like poetry. They were sharing their stories, and I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make this a movement now. And I started, like very small. There were only like 40 women in my Facebook group, and Um, but because of all the interviews and all the, because I talk a lot about self-love, and I talk about, how you can reclaim your power and be more and step into your true authentic self. I talk a lot about those topics and imposter syndrome because um I was I suffer no longer, but imposter syndrome, meaning there are other people who are better than me. Oh, I can't be this and I can't be that. And those are lies that you're just telling yourself. You can do anything that you put your mind to. You just have to trust, believe, and have faith and
So
trust.
that's so the truth of don't my mom, mama said good intentions, but it comes across as don't get too big for your britches. And who do you think you are? And be
Right.
contented with your lot. Don't think you're meant for things when you're not. So those stories that land, we plant them back there. They're not true, but they run our lives. See, I told you you were, you know,
Told
I
you.
told you, yeah. And so you're this voice back here that you don't even know you made up a story about something that happened. You really make
Right,
up the story. Something said, and you make up a story that it's you, and
right,
and
exactly.
then it guides your life the rest of your life. See, I told you I was stupid. See, I told you I was stupid, and you continue to uh,
It ruminates
live
it
it.
and it puts you down the rabbit hole. So when you do that and you tell those lies to yourself, um, and saying that you're not good enough or you're not this, oh, I can't be an author, oh, I can't go speak on stages. Those are lies that you're telling yourself because we were conditioned to believe, like I said at the beginning, or maybe a parent planted something in your brain that you were not going to make it. And then that just, it's, and then, there's a,
It's
unfortunately,
self-fulfilling prophecy is a
right,
perpetuation
right.
of things that are not true.
Hmm.
And it takes a good coach or someone to walk you through going, is that really the truth? Are you really not good enough? Are you not worthy? Come on. So we start asking those questions and working, the path backwards to go, and you know what? And I'll just say this, for the audience. There's therapy and there's coaching. I mean, pretty much that is
Hmm.
the two paths that you can take, and both are valid. But
Yes.
therapy, to a point, I don't
Hmm.
want to be on a therapist's couch for 10 years. I want, so there are a lot of times they're looking at what went wrong and addressing it, whereas a coach is
Right.
looking on what are the possibilities?
What are the
Where
possibilities
can we
for,
go? What can we do instead of what happened?
right, like talk therapy? I mean, I was in therapy myself for 1 year, and then, I was strong enough to just, because talk therapy, they're talking about the past and how like what went wrong, what went wrong.
And you're
It's just,
focusing on what went wrong and focusing on the past. And if that's the case, you cannot
you cannot
focus on the
propel and
future.
move forward. So the coach and the mentor will empower you and give you the tools to move forward and step into your true authentic self through the healing techniques that I implemented in my life and through a mentor. I had to release and break free from the past limiting beliefs because I felt stuck and overwhelmed. And I created a 9 week coaching course, a coaching program for women. So I literally take them by the hand from, from pain to purpose. So like you talked about, you can turn your mess into a huge message. And and it's a rediscovery process for 9 weeks because one session is not going to do it. It takes time to unlearn everything. So I take you on that path of doing all the inner work. Yes, you're going to be triggered, but that's part of the healing, and triggers are our teachers. So I take you on a step by step by step by step. And at the end of the session, you should feel like a new person and rediscover who you really, really are. Because when you are going through trauma, domestic violence, you've lost your identity. You don't know who you are. And there were like, and there's venting is not going to help because again, that's negative. Negative.
So you also you did not have children when you left?
No,
Okay,
no.
so yeah, I'm sure that many of the people you work with have that.
They do.
Oh,
Yeah, they
and
have
that's
kids.
a, I've been to I've helped shelters and people
That's
certainly in the
good.
past, and you know that when you have your mama bear, you're trying to protect your kids
Mm.
while you barely have capacity to take care of yourself. So, when you get to those dire straits, those decisions of actually leaving, do you also help people figure out how to leave and all that kind of
Yes.
stuff?
Yes,
Because
I do.
that's you
That's
they
huge.
often you don't, you feel like you're trapped. You have no place to go, and no, you feel like you're going to be tracked or found out if you're trying to make a plan to leave, and you've got to cover your bases and be a good actress at so to speak. And by the way, there are men in a similar situation. It's
Oh,
just not
absolutely.
not as
Absolutely.
prevalent, not as prevalent, but it they are out there as well that are totally in that. And have you noticed that there is, I don't like to label people, but there is a term called narcissist that seems to fit, and it feels like it's almost growing in these chaotic times we're in right now.
Yes, it
That
is. Yes.
and people focusing on themselves and making everybody else wrong. There's no possible way
Right.
that you will ever win. And it's not about, to me, it's not about winning, but just having a closure, a last word, or something that will keep that, having a conversation that we can
Right.
both walk
Right.
away from, rather than you're always left like, what just happened? That,
Exactly.
uh,
Exactly.
so I'm sure you run across that a lot if you're dealing with that
Oh, yeah.
situation.
I run across that a lot. Yes. Yeah.
What do they do? I mean, that's a really hard thing to leave because you're always
They have so
the
much control
guilty
because they
one.
feel they have control and they make you feel guilty. There's gaslighting. And I knew that my ex was a narcissist. So just trying to take, just taking control of my life. And, they tell you what to do and they make you feel bad. Like they'll put on, they're like actors. Okay. So like when you're at an event or let's say a birthday party or something, they will put on this big act and, oh, nothing's wrong. Like we have a perfect marriage, but behind closed doors, it wasn't like that. And I
Mm-mm.
actually, I was just so fed up with it that I um told his sister, I mean, his sister's not alive anymore, but I said, this is not the way life is. I said, I'm not going to live this way. I said, I don't deserve this. And meanwhile, I was the one who brought six-figure income into the business because he had advertising business. So meanwhile, and then he accused me of commingling funds. And meanwhile, he was writing balance transfer checks to buy mutual funds, and that was $50,000. So he wrote those checks against our credit, and I had all the proof because I stashed away all the financial statements. He happened to be out. So I took everything and I went to a coffee shop and I stayed there for 3 hours to complete financial statements because my lawyer needed that. So I was able to do that by the grace of God without,
Right.
yeah,
Sometimes
that
you,
was like, and that was scared. I was like, but you know what? I'm going to take this whole file, put it in the car, and I'm going to go down to the coffee shop and I'm just going to work on this and have coffee. I'll have breakfast and I was there for like 4 hours. They didn't mind. It was like, I said, I'm sorry, but I'm filing for divorce, right? I told the waitress, I said, I'm filing for divorce. I'm in the process of getting all these financial statements together, and I had to prepare a financial statement. So, because I was handling the finances and he was horrible at finances. And we also, in 2008, when the market crashed, we lost over $100,000.
Oh man. So story after story after story,
Right, and he
but
blamed me, and he blamed you.
look at you now.
Look at me
And look
now.
at you now.
That's all
Yeah,
that counts
so
right
all
now.
that is
So,
that's backstory. That's looking backwards, but it also gives the foundation of where we
mm,
come from. And so somebody's going to relate to one of these or the other and find something that go, yeah, I need that. I need some support here. Um, and one of the things that I learned about to how to deal with a narcissist, and this is very simplified, very high, just something that you might do. It's
right.
like they're always going to you'll if you want to do something, they're never going to be happy with you doing it. I don't care if
Exactly.
it's how you
Oh
wash the
no, they'll
car.
never be
They
satisfied.
will never be satisfied, even if it's just washing the car, by whatever. There's always going to be something wrong. So what I kind of learned to do was just go, yeah, 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 and just keep doing what I wanted to do. Just keep
Right.
going on. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And some good words are yes and I'm going to do this anyway. Yes, I hear you. Not yes, I
But I'm
agree
going to
with
do
you.
this
I
anyway.
hear you.
Right.
And are just no words, and just continue doing what you're doing and keep going, and they'll keep finding things wrong, but you almost have to put blinders on, or cover your ears, and
Yeah,
just.
exactly. That's what I basically did. I think I was wearing earplugs at one time. Just I wasn't listening to them.
But
And the
that is
Lord told
that's a
me not to
key.
listen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a one little way that you can sort of survive as you're doing, because whatever if it's dressing, if it's, whatever you hate, raising the kids, no matter what, they will never think that you're doing it right, ever, 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 ever. There's never
Right.
an, oh,
Exactly.
wow, you did that so well. You'll never hear that. And if you crave that, you're going to have to say it to yourself. But in the meantime, there are words that you can go, yeah, 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 I hear you. Okay, okay, and just keep doing what you want, because
Right.
otherwise it's so demeaning and it's so draining. So anyway, we got a lot to cover here. We've got
Oh yeah.
so you I want you to spell your name for everyone, and let's get your information. We'll do it at the
Sure.
end again, but right here in the middle, let's get your name and information, and how people can find you, and
Sure.
kind of what your offer is.
Yes. Okay. So my name is spelled A-N, first name, Angeline. Constantinou is Constaniou. And I'm on Facebook at Angeline Constantinou. You could visit my website at letsbreakthesilence.com, where I also was a co-author in the Change book. And Charla, see, I know this is how we connected, everyone. In book, yeah, 21, and I'm in book 20. So,
And that's something we want to talk about, actually, because both of us, if you ever wanted a credibility piece with
mm,
Les Brown, that wrote the forward, and Jim Lutz and Jim Britt,
oh
these
yeah.
world famous, amazing people. But the thing that you can get into that chapter, you contact her, contact me, and we'd love to help you get
Oh,
a
absolutely.
chapter in the next book. I mean, I'm in 21. We're working on 24,
I
maybe.
think they're working on 24 right now, but this is a great place to share your story. So
You
my chapter is on it's page 145, and I'll the links I'm sure will be in the show notes. And I remember I want to read something out of my chapter if you don't mind. Okay.
No, please. I got.
Because I share my story out of how I overcame domestic violence. Okay, so let me read this. We all have choices. What a beautiful thing. I soon grew empowered to not only seek refuge and healing by surrounding myself with positive, outgoing, and caring people, but also to inspire and support others to do the same. And relocating to Saratoga, it at that time, Saratoga Springs, New York, captured that essence for me. And I was growing slowly, but learned that the hardest thing about growth is letting go of limiting beliefs. That was the biggest struggle I had. So, that was so my story is here, and I'm actually going to, the link will be shared to actually purchase the book.
Yeah,
because
these books
it's well worth
are
it.
not on Amazon, but you get 20 stories of incredible people. But the value for me, more than the book, is in the monthly mastermind with these two brilliant men, both Jims, Jim Lutz and Jim Britt. Um, they have done it. They've been there, done that. They're world class,
Oh yeah,
and then so we have this mastermind with all of these authors that come on, and many of them have been my guests, and many of them are coming up to be guests. So
that's
I
great.
love connecting with the change authors because they're from all walks of life. And actually, the deal when somebody sent me a message very randomly on a Facebook Messenger, I didn't know her. And she's like, well, I was like, why me? I mean, I'm nobody. Where did this come from? And she goes, why not you?
Right.
And there was that limiting belief, right? That
That's
why,
the limiting
who
belief.
am I to be on the cover of a book like that with Les Brown? Are you kidding? You know? And I really
Exactly.
had no
Exactly.
idea what that was. But they are searching for people like you and me that are just everyday coaches and people out here making a difference. It's about people making a difference. And of course, my tiny book, Candy Bar Hugs, it doesn't take much to make a difference, and
There you
and
go.
that
There you go.
and split second transformation, change your words, change your life, 31 daily practices.
Oh,
Now both of those are on Amazon, but this other book is in a different category, so to speak. So it's a
right. Right.
credibility factor type of book. And so anyway,
Exactly.
that
Exactly.
so we talk about that, but that is a wonderful, um, just a wonderful platform for it to get to know. And also, let's see, the Facebook group. Okay, I knew there was one other component there. We've got a
Right.
Facebook group, and they will love it that we have this show together. And
Oh yeah.
and so
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, they will love it. They will absolutely love it because we're breaking the silence and shattering the stigma. And, you know, we live in a crazy world today, but there's hope and you can heal. You can reclaim your power and take your life back. So that's one. And both Jims reached out to me. This was 2 years ago. And they reached out to me because guess what? People are watching us. I just want to say something. People are watching. You may not realize, but people are watching us. So because I had a huge, and I still do have a huge social media presence, they reached out to me because they wanted me to share my story of how I claimed victory from domestic violence. And it just goes to show you, everyone, people are watching us. You don't know who's watching us. I mean, now I've been on a couple of, I've been on, I spoke in London last month, Real Raw live event. And that was truly life changing. And talk about, feeling empowered and activated. That was a huge speaking event. And I'm also a co-author of another leadership book that is going to be released in August called The Leadership Habit. So, 2 weekends ago, we had a mastermind in Fort Lauderdale, and I was also a special guest in a live studio on a podcast. So, this is what I'm saying, everyone. You could do anything, you could change your life, but it has to come from you. I can't do it for you. I can give you the tools and I can give you all these tools and techniques, but it has to come from within. It has
you
to
have to
come
want
from,
to. I mean, you have to. There has
you
to be
have to want
the
it.
desire. And by the way, I love that the word desire is of the Father and of the
Yeah.
Father. When you ask for the desires of your heart, he gives you the desires of your heart. You speak what
Yes, it
you
does.
desire, not what you. The word want means lack. And I love that distinction between
Hmm.
want and desire, which is of the Father, and He gives you the desires of your heart.
Right.
And by the
God gives
way,
you
and so this little book, Split Second Transformation, change your words, change your life in a split second. I did it, from joy to bitterness to joy in one split second. And so that you can every word matters. This is my constant, mantra here. Every word matters. And we demean ourselves so often. We diminish
Exactly.
ourselves by speaking low energy words or cursing ourselves or I am sick or I whatever you say after I am, it's who you are.
That's
It's
right.
it's the
Speak our
God,
lives
it's
into
the God
existence.
in you. So whenever you say I am, you better know that next word better be powerful beyond measure. I am a child of the God. I am worthy. I am whatever it my like my 3-year-old granddaughter goes, I am trustworthy.
Go. I am powerful. I am worthy. I am beautiful. Beauty comes from
Trustworthy is was and I'm now going to teach her, I have integrity. I'm teaching her
right.
big words because she's a big, she's gonna go with me. We're gonna go places together. So
That's good. I'm very happy to hear that. That's great. But seriously, we speak our lives into existence. We speak. So if
we
you're
create,
speaking,
you've heard it, we hear it, but we can't conceive of it. I've heard it all my life. So, you
right,
create your reality. You create, I'm
exactly. Your
like,
thoughts create your
I
reality.
I couldn't grasp that. I wouldn't possibly have considered putting myself here,
Right,
right?
right.
But not, and that's not here right this second, but in our world, we're walking around going, I didn't create this. Well, somebody's got to take responsibility.
Exactly. Someone has to take
And
responsibility.
and, and really, where you are is all you have. You have no other place to be. Everything since Let There Be Light has brought you and me in this moment in time, at this day, having this conversation, and there's an infinite number of things that could have had your grandparents not meeting, would have had us in a different place, right? So anything could have happened since then. But
Right,
so that whatever brought us here to this moment in time is where we are, is all we have. It's right now. And if you don't
right
like where
now.
you
Exactly.
are, if you don't like it, change. You can't change one of the things that got you here. You can only change the next step. And if you don't like where you are, that next step could be in a more positive way, or a new, speaking a different word to yourself, or, you know, so I'm on, I say I'm provided for. I ain't, there's no lack in this world. And where we are right this second is all we got to take
Right.
the next step. And if you want something different in your life, it's up to you. Take a different
Exactly. It's
step.
up to you.
And I would never say it's simple. I mean, it's simple. It's not easy, sometimes. And like you had to make the line in the sand. I'm not going to do this. I'm not taking this anymore.
Right.
And you may have
Exactly.
had to pretend for a little while till you got things in place, I'm
Sure.
guessing.
A little
Yeah.
bit. Yeah. But I had to. I
Well, and a
had
lot of people,
to.
I mean, my friend found out her husband was molesting some of her children, her 10
Oh,
children.
that's
And
awful.
and until she could get things in place to get him out, she had to pretend. And that was a
Mm,
hard one. And
exactly.
I'm laughing, but I'm not laughing. It was
No,
horrible.
no, that's
And so, we all got our stuff, and nobody's, I don't know. It's like, I used to say, when I get to heaven, the first thing I want to ask is, why are relationships so hard? I mean, we got all kinds of other stuff to deal with.
oh
Why can't we have easy relationships?
no, I know, I know. No relationship is easy, especially in this world we live in today because of social media. There's, like too much temptation out there, if that makes sense. So just
So what do you want to, I know you're doing a lot of things. So you're traveling, you've been to Greece. Let's talk a
yes,
spec about that, because you and I've
yes.
been to Santorini and Mykonos, and mine's been a long time ago. I'm ready to go. Let's
No,
go.
no, go back. Yeah, actually, I skipped Mykonos, but I went to Santorini only because of time. So I went to Santorini. I took a private tour, and I was so enamored. I was like, I am going back again because I didn't complete everything, believe it or not. Um, so God put it in my heart to go back to Greece again in,
This year.
in
That's
this
twice in
year.
one
So
year.
I'm not waiting. I am not waiting. There's a saying, do it now. If there's something that God has called you to do it now. Don't wait until next year. So I'm going back. I'm So I'm flying to Athens, and then I'm going to stay in Athens for 3 days to finish my Acropolis tour. And then after that, I'm going to fly to Santorini and stay for 4 days. And then I'm going to be traveling to a special place where my parents were born and raised. It's the Peloponnesus region, and it's in southern Greece. So my aunt, who is 88 years of age, still lives there. She's going strong. She has the will to live, and people, it's a different lifestyle over there. People are not so rushed. They're not stressed. It's not like here where it's the hustle and the grind and the hustle and the grind. Yes, you do have to work, working smarter. So I'm actually going to be talking to a wine touring company, and I want to, talk to her because I didn't do the wine tour in Santorini, so I'm going to do that and also build those relationships. So building those new connections. And, I want to do a retreat. So that's something that's on my bucket list, to host a retreat in Santorini. Santorini has a special place in my heart. And I was just blown away by the history. And people are so like interested in, they pride themselves on the culture. See, I didn't really appreciate that, but I think what happened was like after my dad went to go live with the Lord on Christmas Day last year, that was an awakening for me. Yeah, that was an awakening for me. He died of dementia and heart problems and complications. Anyways, so my second home is going to be in Greece. And one of the reasons I'm going to travel to the Peloponnesus region is I made a connection with a woman who overcame domestic violence. Now, talk about that. And she said, come after September 15th, because this way it's like the tourist season is basically winding down. And she said, we're going to sit down, we're going to go to a cafe and have coffee and meet and greet, that like breaking bread, okay? And build that connection. And that's it. God has put it in my heart to, eventually live full time in Greece. But for now, it'll be just like trips and to plant those seeds, but to live a better lifestyle. The food there is amazing, and that's it. But the people are like this. They're warm and welcoming. I didn't feel like I was being judged, and if that happens, they're not in my reality, but the people there are welcoming. They want true friendship. So I was just like, they want to be your friend. They want to help you. Like one time I couldn't pay the cab driver right away. So he said, you know what? He said, don't worry about it. When you leave Santorini, just pay me. That would never happen here in America. That I can tell
Whoa.
you. That I can tell you. So, it's like I said, we live in a different world today. But the what I've been reading about Greece and especially that region in the Peloponnesus, that in 5 years it'll be the next Bali, meaning, yeah, it's growing. People from America are moving to Greece. And I have nothing against the US. My parents emigrated from Greece. It was a different time. There were wars and everything. And were US citizens. They built a legacy. Um, and that's what my goal. I want to build not want, I desire to build my legacy, to build my business, a global movement, of creating a ripple effect of healing and empowerment. So, because
And
we
we
all have
also want,
kids.
I mean, when you bring awareness to this domestic
Oh, right,
issue,
right.
you want, that's what the core here is, you bringing awareness and having tools for people to escape. There also needs to be I'm assuming there is on the abusive. See, I say the word bullies are victims too. People don't abuse people if they hadn't been abused,
I
typically.
agree. I
Typically.
agree.
So we got to find that seesaw balance somehow of getting um the the abusers to begin understanding that it's them, that they're part of the problem. and
Exactly.
and they always want to blame someone else, but it's I tell my grandkids, I mean, if you're, well, they bullied me. I'm like, Mm, maybe so. And I don't believe they love themselves enough to love others. They don't know how to
Exactly.
love themselves enough to love others. So don't take everything personally. That makes you a
Right.
victim. Don't, don't take abuse. So in my tiny book, it says unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries, right? So
Right.
we can love as God loves and send, may you be blessed and love as God loves, but don't when I used to say unconditional love, just love people. And I was like, and now I say, and the harder they are to love, the more they, the more they need it. But
Right.
don't, so I added not unconditional boundaries because I don't want people to think that they should, or,
Right.
the old Christian way, we need to be they're the man of the house and you better obey them or, that messed up theology that I was raised with, and
Oh yeah, like the women didn't have a say, but that's not the case now. Women are being more
it
vocal
was
now.
never the case, but it was taught that way. We were the men had, kind of come along and this is not men bashing even a little bit. I
Mm,
think that there's incredible humans on all sides and I'll
absolutely.
say this, I'm outrageously optimistic. I've been outrageously optimistic all of this time. I think the world that looks like it's falling apart is really just adjusting to a higher plane. I
I
believe
agree,
we're
and I agree. Actually, that was my thought too. It's like God is reconstructing you. So when you're going through a horrible time, that's God actually, He's
cleansing. And
cleansing you.
a lot of things are being stripped away. And
Yeah.
one of my friends was like, this, and then this, and then
Oh
this. And
yeah, things
all
are
of a
being
sudden
stripped
she's like,
away. I
but
know.
but it, but it opens up the space for you to go to Greece. It opens up the space
Right.
for the
Right.
next, if you're so, attached to where you are. Exactly.
Exactly.
Then you may, well, I have a saying, when intriguing opportunities present themselves and you say yes, things start showing up. Things show up. And
Exactly. Exactly. Things start showing up in your life.
yeah.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. No doubt
And
about it.
we know that there's the law of attraction or the law of assumption and all those things they've now totally scientifically proven are true, are real, even though it's, those of us that were not raised that way, it takes a bit of rethinking. And
Right.
so when you get what you think about, you get what you speak, you get what those they've proven it. I mean, and now they've got
Exactly.
neuroscience that's showing it. So don't dismiss it
Oh yeah. Don't
as
miss it.
woo woo, because the woo woo is how we got in trouble. Not having any of that is how we
Mhm.
got ourselves into such a um, upside down state, it seems to me, and part of it.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. So,
So I want you to spell your name again because I don't think you said the T when you spelled your last name a
oh,
while ago.
okay.
No,
Are you ready?
Angeline.
Okay. So Const like Tommy, ANT like Tommy, INOU.
Start again. Just say
C
it.
Constantinu. So it's Constantininou.
So how I was like, it's constant.
Right.
Constant with an INOU.
Correct.
And so
There you go. There you
I had to figure it out. So in I constant is a common word, and then INOU. So yeah, it's a challenge. My Charla is a little different word, and people Carla or whatever it is, Charlie. Um, but we it's important to be clear so people can find you clearly. You're on
sure.
Facebook, you're on LinkedIn, you're on TikTok, you're
LinkedIn.
on
Yeah.
you name it, you're there, YouTube, and your Let's Break the Silence
Yes.
podcast
On
is it
Spotify.
weekly?
Yes, it's a weekly podcast. Yes. I only took off 1 month, June. But June was a reset. So that was vacation. But normally every week, every week.
And the goal of being an entrepreneur, which is where we are, is to take off when we want to or need to. I mean,
Oh,
part of the
yes.
goal is the freedom around doing what
Mm.
our soul is calling us to do.
Exactly, exactly. Because you do have to take that time off for yourself, because otherwise you will burn out. You will burn
Right? You know, we're grasping at what's next, or
right.
what the
What's next? What is
the shiny objects that are always
right?
showing up.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I just turned them down. But anyways, the next shiny object syndrome. Yeah, don't fall into that trap. But yeah, I took a reset. Then I did a podcast last week, and I have another episode of the Real and Raw Talk that is live on my podcast as well. So see, two podcasts already. So when you take a
Is that
reset,
the Real and Raw is a new podcast you're doing?
yeah, that was the speech that I did, my Real and Raw Talk in London on June 1st. So we just got the footage back, and so it's published already on my podcast and on my YouTube channel at Let's Break the Silence with Angeline. So go have a watch. Plus, we have the speaker reel is done. So I have a PR agency who has already sent the speaker reels out to potential speakers, speaking events. So we'll see what
Well, good
happens.
for you. Now,
Yeah.
was that your very first speaking event, or have you
Actually,
been
the very
speaking?
first speaking event was Jim's
Oh,
mastermind event in December of 2023. And I actually kicked
in
it off
San Diego?
in San Diego, correct. And
Ah,
that's
I
on
didn't know
there
you went.
too. Yeah, that's on there too as well. So, oh yeah, he wanted me there. He said, "You crushed it." I said, "Thank you." And he want, so 2 days before Jim called me and he said, and I was in San Diego. I had checked into the Airbnb. He said, "I want you to kick it off." And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." I thought he was kidding, but no, I kicked it off. Because yeah, he's, because of the energy that I bring. So, it was good. It was really good. And I got to
And
meet
you,
everyone. We did the penthouse mastermind. We did, the happy hour up there. It was great. It was amazing.
oh,
Amazing.
I'm kind of envious of that. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, they have them. He has them all the time, right? He has
Oh yeah,
several
he has
yeah,
them
a
all the
year.
time. He's supposed to have one overseas too. I think they're going to start in London, then they're going to go to Santorini. So they're going to make the whole, but I don't know when it's going to be, but
Are you kind of involved with that part of it, the planning, or is
no,
it?
not the planning. No,
But
no.
they chose Santorini, and you're
They chose Santorini as one of the
isn't
locations.
that crazy? I heard him
Isn't
say
that crazy?
Dallas, but I really hope that they, I there's Dallas Fort Worth, there's night and day difference, and there's if you do
Yeah,
something in the middle, like the DFW airport area, or there's a lot of things around there. But so many people go northeast Dallas, but those of us over in southwest Fort Worth are like, it's an out, it's like a
yeah, I hear
trek
you. Yeah.
across town. So, yeah, I hope they do that. Anyway, we're just having good time at the last few minutes here as oh, you also sell Mary Kay, which is a company I was
Yes,
with for many, many years. And that the values of that company are the reason I joined it, God first, family second, career third.
me too. Me too.
That was, and you've only done it a year, but I did it I think I quit in or whenever. It was a long time ago. But
Okay.
it's been around a long time. And one of the reasons I did Mary Kay is because, first of all, I don't wear much makeup. I don't know. I've never liked wearing base makeup. I'm not a makeup girl. I'm not a girly girl. I don't do a lot of frou-frou. Okay.
Okay.
But I get overwhelmed if I want to go in and buy a lipstick or something at a department store. I didn't want to do
Me
that. So
too. Me too. Like I'm wearing Mary Kay right now, everyone, and this is how I wear my makeup, and I love their skincare. But it's changed my life. And Mary Kay has a foundation for domestic violence survivors. So her mission and vision resonate with me, which is why I joined, and I'm a star consultant. And our fiscal year just ended June 30th. So we're, like I'm restarting my business now because June I took off. So I'm restarting my business and, looking for clients who want to, pamper yourself, pamper yourself.
self-care is real. It's a real thing.
Self-care is
Yeah.
real. Self-care. So we have weekly glass skin facials every Thursday night on Zoom at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're interested, please reach out to me and I will be more than happy to send you a pampering kit. And, let's have a conversation. Where are you right now? Because there's a lot of women, believe it or not, who are struggling with like dry skin, like in Europe and Greece, it's dry heat. But if I didn't have my Mary Kay with me, forget it. Forget it. So it was like, so we do weekly glass skin facials and we'd love to have you. And like I said, pamper yourself because you deserve it. And that's a form of self-love. And that actually, in my course that I teach, I talk about self-love. I still do it. I go to a yoga class every week. I go to a dance class every week. We do facials every week. So, and I go for massage. So taking care of yourself is very important. I actually told my first cousin this because my first cousin, I haven't seen her in years. And she actually, when she lived in the US, she used to do Mary Kay. And, now she works with her husband, but she's on her feet all day long. And I'm like, you got to take care of yourself because if, and she's like, no, no, no. I'm like, you got to take care of yourself. Because if you don't take care of you, you can't take care of your family.
So true, so true. So many of us are finding things that work, right? Finding things that work because we're in an environment in our country. We're in an environment now that we don't. I mean, I don't. I have a mindset. I'm a mindset coach, right? So I don't believe in getting sick, so I don't get sick. Now that's not arrogance. That's authority. Jesus said we can do what He did and even more. And this isn't
Right.
religion. This is relationship. So when and then last week I had a little summer cold for a few days, sniffles and sneezes, and I was like, "Where'd that come from?" I have not. I mean, I get something, I guess once
Something,
every
right?
four or 5 years, and it's like, okay, well, maybe this is it. And that just teaches me that I'm so grateful. I don't have, I'm 71 years old. I don't have any pain. I don't have any issues. I
Good.
mean, I'm grateful and thankful and live in gratitude, which is probably the key, not
Yes.
probably, it is the key to a satisfied life. Getting
Right.
out of the complaining will get you more to complain about. There we go back to that same
Same
speak what you
scenario.
want, but
Right?
but complaining literally, they find it builds ruts in your brain
Sure
that
does.
are, and it's really challenging once you're in that mindset because, you know, yeah,
I know.
you're attracting more and more to complain about. You get
There you
upset,
go.
upset draws upset, upset draws upset. You get cut off by
Exactly.
somebody, and then and you're like, and then you hit the curb because you're mad, and then it's a trickle down. Upset draws upset. So when you can just
Exactly.
be the be the be the eye of the storm, right? Be the eye of the storm, be
Exactly.
the
Exactly.
calm in the center, and just go, here we are on this one
Mm,
tiny speck out of eternity on this planet, right? Tiny, tiny speck out of eternity, from let there be light to eternity. We're just
exactly.
passing through. We're just passing through for this
Yeah,
80, 90, 100 years, 120. I think I've got at least 120. We're just passing through. And if
exactly.
we spend our time focused on the box on the wall and what's wrong and what they want us to be upset about, keep us
Mhm.
in confusion and fear and lack
Confusion and fear and overwhelm
and
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 lack. Right.
divisiveness, us against them. If you keep your eye on that wall and put your thumb in action on this black thing, I believe that would be a very simple, not easy thing to shift. Stop watching
Exactly.
all that.
Exactly.
Just stop and be in gratitude of every day. When my little ones, I'm like, what are you going to sleep? What are you thankful for tonight? Think of something new every day. One more thing to add to your list. Wake up. What are you grateful for today? And just keep that and your
I focus on gratitude because gratitude opens up the gateway for abundance.
And like I said before, I think I said, and there is no lack in this, there is no lack. I call it a distribution issue. And it's certainly, I've had my share of that, still
Mm,
do. But that doesn't mean I don't believe that there's any lack. The abundance is out there. God wants us to be
sure.
wildly wealthy, and so
Of course it does.
I can't give if I have nothing to give,
Mm, there you
right?
go.
So anyway, well, this is the hour goes fast. It's been a pure, exciting time to be with you
Yeah,
and joy, and I've
I
appreciate you
enjoyed this.
so very much that you came along, and um, I this will be, it'll be typically comes out like this is Wednesday recorded, so the next Tuesday we get it out on YouTube on my website with a blog, and then on YouTube,
That's
and
awesome. I can't wait.
yeah, I I'm so I just this is my favorite hour of the week. I just get to talk to people that,
Oh
my
yeah, isn't it great? That's why we me too. This is a treat for me. So,
we just get to hit it, we hit it off and we
huh.
chat, and all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, it's over.
I know it's
Yeah.
over and I have to go in a few minutes. So, but
Well,
thank you so
blessings to
much.
you. I'm going to end this now, and I always like to end with and always choose joy.